Not too long ago, subcompacts were considered dull and boring, and you'd say that they were fully loaded if they had power windows. Well, we've come a long way since then. The Honda City's exterior still remains rather conservative, despite going a little overboard with the grille and lower part of the rear bumper. This range-topping variant comes with LED headlamps, while all the other variants get halogens. The Honda City also comes standard with fog lamps across all variants. The side has a rather conventional silhouette, but the body lines are rather pronounced. This variant rolls on 16-inch alloys wrapped in Bridgestone Turanza tires. You also get turn indicators on these power folding side mirrors. At the back, there's not much to say in terms of design, but what is worth mentioning is the fact that you get over 500 liters of trunk space. Now that's even bigger than some cars above its weight class. Oh, and if for whatever reason you leave your keys in the trunk, the car would know and it won't let you close the trunk lid. Stepping inside, you're greeted with a modern interior even if the City is nearing the end of its life cycle. What gives this car its modern vibe is really its list of amenities, and for a subcompact, you get some pretty decent kit, like push-button start, tilt and telescopic steering, pedal shifters, and buttons on your steering wheel for your audio and cruise control. Yes, you heard me right, cruise control on a subcompact. My only gripe with this interior really is the dashboard. Now, it looks fine. It actually looks quite good. And I really like the design, but the fact that it isn't bespoke for this car somehow devalues it. Because this is essentially the same dash you'll find in the Brio, Mobilio, and BRV. But overall, this is a very pleasing cockpit. Ergonomics are spot on, in terms of the controls and switches being well within reach. However, the haptic auto climate control doesn't really do it for me, because it's not that intuitive, especially when driving. Or maybe that's just because I'm old school. I do like the fact that this armrest comes standard. Now, sitting here at the back, you'll see that this is one of the roomiest cars in its class, especially in terms of legroom. Now, headroom is a bit tight, but still, this is a very comfortable place to sit. As far as amenities go, you get a center armrest, 60/40 foldable seats that give you access to the trunk, charge ports, side curtain airbags, and a dome light aside from the map lights up front. Now, I know that isn't a big deal, but trust me, some subcompacts don't even have that. Under the hood, you get Honda's trusty 1.5 iVTEC engine that delivers 120 horsepower and 145 Newton meters of torque, which makes this one of the most powerful, naturally aspirated subcompacts. But let's see if that's felt behind the wheel. So the 120 horsepower produced by the 1.5 liter engine is more than enough to propel this car. However, I wouldn't exactly call the driving experience a sporty one, mainly because it's made it to a CVT. And CVT transmissions are known for the droning effect or the rubber band effect. So let's see how that plays out with the Honda City. So the rubber band effect only becomes quite evident when you floor the gas pedal. But using this thing as a daily driver, and if you drive like a decent human being, it really won't become evident. But if you want to make a safe pass or accelerate a bit more rapidly, just depress the gas pedal about 1/3 of the way, and you'll find that the car delivers more than enough power to make safe passes. Now personally, I'm not a huge fan of CVTs, but I really wouldn't mind driving this on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, the Honda City does an exceptional job as a daily driver, getting you from point A to point B. The steering is ultra light and the suspension is very compliant. There's no indication that the suspension setup at the back is a torsion beam, because this thing goes over bumps quite well. So if you were to use this thing as your daily driver, I'm sure you wouldn't have any complaints. Okay, so I currently have it on sport mode. Let's see how this thing accelerates with the use of the paddle shifters. Okay, so when you have it on sport mode, the car does a good job in holding its revs, but it also feels kind of suppressed. Now the steering ratio on this isn't as quick as what you would find in the Honda Civic RS. And that's perfectly fine because it's still very responsive. NVH is also extremely acceptable, especially for a subcompact. Hardly any of the noise from the outside creeps in. Another thing worth mentioning is how good visibility is. Even if it was your first time behind the wheel of this thing, you'd find that you wouldn't have to make a lot of adjustments to actually get used to it. You'll be able to master driving this in absolutely no time. Now, despite being a subcompact, this is the kind of car that you can take on a long trip and the ride won't feel jarring at all. So as far as fuel efficiency is concerned, the 1.5 liter engine in this thing can net 8 to 13 kilometers per liter in city driving. And that's pretty impressive, considering how bad traffic is in the metro. Then when you stretch its legs on the highway, it can get as much as 19 kilometers per liter. So that is extremely impressive. Now I've currently engaged Econ mode to help with the fuel efficiency. But there is a noticeable dip in power when you have that turned on. The Econ button is like a substitute for having a brick underneath the gas pedal. But if you're after fuel economy, then it's the best way to go. So this car may not blow you away with sporty driving dynamics, but if you're after convenience and comfort, then it definitely will not disappoint. The Honda City has been around for a while now, but it's still an extremely compelling choice. It may not be the sportiest subcompact out there, but if it's comfort and convenience that you want, then you really can't go wrong with this. Now, prices for the Honda City starts out at 820,000 pesos. This particular variant will set you back 1,068,000 pesos. And if you're thinking that's a lot of money for a subcompact car, well, once you consider all the features this comes with, you'll actually find that you're getting your money's worth. So if you're in the market for a subcompact and you want something with heaps of features that's comfortable and easy to drive on a daily basis, then look no further.